Pillaging Podcast, companion podcast to PillagingJustForFun.com, the only Raiders fan site made by Raiders fans for Raiders fans. Follow us on Twitter at PillageJustForFun. That's at PillageJust4Fun. Also, you can call us and leave us a message at 408-909-PJFF. Let's get ready to pillage. What's up, Kane? Let's do this.
What's up, Kenny? What's up with you, baby? How you doing this week? You feeling good after that 10-2?
I'm feeling large, man. We're sitting on top of the AFC right now, on top of the AFC West. Got a big early playoff game coming up on Thursday, in my opinion. This is playoff football in December, and it feels good.
It feels good, baby, to know that the team can be down 18, 20, 21 points, 25 points. We can be down by as much as 24 points and still come back and win. That right there lets me know this team is set and ready to be a Super Bowl contender after all these years, man. I'm so excited. I'm ready to just get to the playoffs tomorrow.
I know, but we can't put the carriage in front of the horse, right? We got games to win. I like what you said. The Raiders right now outscoring opponents 39-0 in the last 3 minutes of games. That's incredible. This is real Raider football. This is just win, baby football. If you're mad about it and you don't recognize it, then you ain't been around long enough.
That's right, baby. You ain't been around long enough, and you need to start coming around because right now, this team is poised to be in the Super Bowl against the Dallas Cowboys. That's my prediction right now. I'm going to go ahead and say it right now. The Raiders and the Cowboys in the Super Bowl, February 2017. Join us in Houston because we'll be there, and we'll be there with bells on, baby, because we ready to do this. It's been too many years of futility. It's been too many years of BS going on. It's been too many years of bad draft picks. Draft pick after draft pick after draft pick. It's been too many years of bad defenses. Been too many years of makeshift quarterbacks just come through here and, Jamarcus Russell. I mean, come on, man. How far back? That doesn't seem like that far back, but it wasn't that far back. I'm telling you, Jamarcus Russell.
You're taking me to a bad place. I don't want to go there. All right, I'm chomping at the bit to talk about this KC game, but we got to break down what just happened with the Buffalo Bills. Looking at the stats, things are pretty much even. The biggest differentials in the game were Buffalo's rushing stats. We all knew they ran for over 200 yards in the game, and then Raiders passing stats. We killed them. The Buffalo Bills didn't get over 200 yards in passing, and I believe the Raiders, Derek Carr, in usual fashion, outpassed the team. I think they had 260 yards, a modest day, but then again, we know a lot of it came in the second half, and a lot of those numbers, I think, fell off the board because of drops early on in the game, and we'll talk a little bit about that too. And I think overall the biggest difference in the game was the turnover differential. We were +2, the Bills had none, and we got turnovers in key times in the game, as been happening. I mean, if that surprises you, then you haven't been watching games this season. So what jumped out to you in the stat department, or what jumped off the screen to you at this game?
Well, I'll tell you what. We went into the halftime down, 24-9, I think it was?
Well, it was 10-9 at half, and then they came back in the third, and they put two more scores on us real quick.
And they put two more scores on the board, that's right, we were down 24-9. And the resilience of this team, Kenny, I mean, it just keeps blossoming week after week. They just show us how resilient they can be, how poised they can be. Now's the time when the Raiders can really say commitment to excellence, pride, and poised, because that's what they showed us on Sunday. They showed us that we can be down and we can be out, but we never really out. You can leave your TV, but I suggest you don't. Because if you did, you missed the Raiders scoring 24 points in the fourth quarter, unanswered.
And you gotta feel confident about this team at all times. I haven't panicked for like the last 5 games. Much like our other games, this was a game of two halves. First half, the second half. So my first question, which Raider defense is the real defense? Is it the first half in this game, or is it the second half in this game?
This defense is week 10 to current. This defense has shown us from week 10 that they can bend but don't break. This defense will close a game out. Yeah, they might give up a few big plays and they might let teams score some points. They might even put their offense in a bad position where they got to save them. But if I tell you what, if the offense does come through and save the game, the defense closes it out. And they have shown us that, especially in the last 6 weeks. Oh my God, Khalil Mack. Ever since Khalil Mack has come to play, ever since he has turned the volume up on his play, this whole defense has looked different in the last 6 weeks. And it starts with Khalil Mack.
It starts with Khalil Mack, and more specifically, it starts with the run defense. What I've noticed is when we can shut down a team's run game and they have to rely on their pass, they have to try to put up points to keep up with Derek Carr, that's when teams seem to fall apart. We saw that in the second half of this game. We put them in a position where they had to stop running the ball. They were running the ball at will on us, but they were running out of time. They started to go to the air. We shut down Tyrod Taylor. We didn't have that success quite last week in the second half. Cam Newton was passing pretty well, but you can point to another X factor in this game was the absence of DJ Hayden and the reemergence of TJ Carey. Is TJ Carey an upgrade over Hayden, or is he the hidden gem once again that's going to save us down the stretch? He graded out as the number one defensive player for Oakland. I think he had an 84.4 on PFF. The second highest graded defensive player last week was Khalil Mack. So who is TJ Carey, and is he going to help us out?
TJ Carey is TJ Carey. What TJ Carey has done is what they say in the NFL, next man up. TJ Carey has just become the next man up, and he has stepped up and done the job. And like I said to you last week's podcast, don't count out DJ Hayden. Yes, he's out for the season, but DJ Hayden stepped up just like TJ Carey. Next man up.
Speaking of next man up, KJ went down in that game. He's walking around in a boot this week. Jack says he might play or probably will play. When asked what the boot was for, Jack said, I don't know. So next man up, it was Nate Allen, who actually graded out at a 78.2. I think he was the fifth highest graded defensive player for Oakland on Sunday. Can Nate Allen do something down the stretch? Is he better than KJ? Who do we want on the field back there?
A KG vet. And that's what we got. We got a KG vet who may have lost a step, a little long in the tooth, or may not be as good as a young buck, but he stepped in, next man up. He did his job, and actually he did a really good job. So, this defense and this team, it's got depth. When you got depth like this team has, that spells Super Bowl contender. And that's what this team is right now, a Super Bowl contender.
So we can't overlook the rushing. It's been a thorn in our side all season long. We gave up 200-plus yards this week. Who's to blame for the 200 yards? Is it just the fact of McCoy being McCoy, or can we point the finger at somebody?
I got to say, listen. LeSean McCoy is LeSean McCoy. LeSean McCoy averages 100 yards a game. And basically, it's just like saying, is Michael Crabtree going to be Michael Crabtree? Is Amari Cooper going to be Amari Cooper? Is Latavius Murray going to be Latavius Murray? You can't count these players out. This is the NFL. They're going to get theirs. You know what I'm saying? What we got to worry about is if a team is coming and then we play defense. And that's what we did. Yeah, so LeSean McCoy, he got his. He's going to get his, and he's going to continue to get his while this team continues to lose games. While Buffalo continues to lose games, LeSean McCoy is still going to get his due. That's just how it is. But the main thing that we need to key on here is the Raiders' defense stepped up when it needed to step up. They saw the offense score unanswered points. And the offense didn't score unanswered points by themselves. The defense had to help, right? Because they still had to come on the field and play defense to stop the other team from scoring points while our offense still went out and scored points. So LeSean McCoy is LeSean McCoy. He got his, but we got ours.
I mean, shady's gonna shady, right? The good news is we got to put him in a position where they had to stop running the ball, and we already talked about that, so I don't want to research. We don't want to bring that back up. Going forward, speaking of the run defense, which Raider D lineman will surge during the last quarter of the season? I've had my eye on Jihad Ward. You don't hear his name called a lot, but I'm seeing him around the ball a lot more often. I know this kid's raw. I know he's young. The knock on him earlier in the season wasn't all bad. Jack said he was playing his assignments, but he was playing them a little bit too religiously. Thought that maybe he had to go off of instinct and get a little bit more aggressive. Are we seeing that from Ward, or who's the guy? Is it going to be Autry? Will it be McGee if he comes back? Is Edwards Jr. going to return to form when he's healthy enough to play? What's the deal? Who's going to be the guy that saves this run defense and maybe pushes the middle of that pocket?
Well, I'm going to have to say MEJ, Mario Edwards Jr. is going to be the key to the run defense. He's going to be the key to the whole thing. I believe that the Raiders could afford to let Mario Edwards Jr. sit on the sideline and get healthy because we've been winning games. Why rush somebody back when you've been winning? Why not get this guy fully healthy so we can unleash the beast? So I think the key to this stretch run that we're finna make to the Super Bowl, Mario Edwards Jr. is gonna play a big part in that. Don't get it twisted. Danico Autry and company can get it done. Jelly Edwards, all these guys are there. Dan Williams, but the key is MEJ, and he practiced today. So just wait.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited about the possibility of Mario Edwards coming back. I agree with you. We should try to keep him on bubble wrap as long as we can, as long as we can afford to. And they should provide a real big boost when he does come back. So we talked a lot about the defense. Let's move to the offensive side of the ball in this Buffalo game. Carr took every single snap out of the shotgun. That's the first time he's done it in his pro career. Is there anything that this guy can't do? I mean, we've seen him do pretty much everything. Is there anything he can't do?
Hey, man, listen. The guy has more comeback wins in the fourth quarter than Blake Bortles has wins in his career. I mean, this guy, I don't know. What can't he do? He's come back out after hurt pinky. You know, he was questioned. His toughness was questioned coming out of college. Well, I think he's answered that bell. You know, until somebody stops him, until somebody shuts him down, until somebody throws a bad game Derek Carr's way, I'm gonna have to say it's nothing Derek Carr can't do, man.
Right, and with 3 possible Pro Bowlers on that offensive line, it doesn't hurt. Maybe 4. We'll see what happens. I think the biggest knock to Derek Carr's game isn't even Derek Carr. It's the wide receivers in the last few weeks dropping balls, especially earlier in games. Wide receiver drops weren't an issue. Now they're an issue. Does this game look differently? Does it go differently if we don't have so many drops in the first half?
You know what? I think this is a game where you cannot afford to make a lot of mistakes. I think Kansas City does a really good job capitalizing on mistakes that you make. So with that being said, I think Kansas City is a team that you just don't want to have those drops or those missed opportunities against. I mean, every opportunity that you get against this defense, you need to take it. Though they aren't ranked high and the stats, their defensive stats can be smoke and mirrors because this team has played and they defense, believe it or not, has won them games. So this is a team you can't afford to have missed opportunities. If a pass come your way, like my daddy said, if you touch them, catch them.
There you go. So, I mean, I guess the answer is yes. This Buffalo Bills game plays out differently. Crabtree doesn't drop that pass in the end zone. Alexander doesn't get that crushing. I think it was like an illegal formation call that he was apparently warned about. This goes differently. The drops in the first half were a major issue. We've seen it the last few weeks, so hopefully they get back on track next week, and we'll talk about that after the break. One last question to you before we get into our MVPs. This game, I'm calling it The Walking Dead because we're seeing names of players that were dead came back on the field. Nate Allen came back on the field. TJ Carey came back on the field. One more person is my question. Rivera or Walford? Who do we want down the stretch? Because Rivera showed up in this game and he looked good.
I mean, you know what?
He looked real good.
Hey, I never had nothing against Rivera. Never. I mean, I don't know whether it was the coaches or whether it was the fans or what, but this guy just all of a sudden took a back seat to Walford, and I never really understood. Although he's not a good blocker, I get that. But
well, that's it. That's it right there. I mean, we had Rivera. We knew he couldn't block. We drafted Walford. He's a bigger guy, thinking he's going to block. He came out of the U. He's got the pedigree for tight end. Turns out he can't really block either. So now we're left with the question: Walford or Rivera? I like both of them, but I see more consistent success with Rivera. Walford's real spotty, again, dropping the important catches more often than not. I mean, he's had some good ones, but man, the guy makes me nervous. Rivera, I like his route running better. I think he's got a little bit more speed. I think he's got way better hands. And early on in Derek Carr's career, Rivera was that go-to guy. It was him and Andre Holmes. And so I'm not even going to be mad if we see more Rivera down the stretch than we see Walford. And in fact, I think because of his veteranship, that might be a smart idea. I'm not saying taking every snap away from Walford, but if we got to lean on Michael a little bit, I'm not mad at that.
Hey, you know what? Like I said, Michael Rivera was never in my doghouse. I don't know what happened, and I don't know why it happened. All I know is Michael Rivera has been there and has been the next man up when it was his time to be the next man up. So kudos to Michael Rivera.
Bonus question. Do we miss Lee Smith?
Yes, we miss Lee Smith. Absolutely. 100%. We miss Lee Smith. Lee Smith was a big part of that offensive line. He was a big part of the run game and a big part of the passing game. Do we miss him? Yeah, we miss him. Have we found a way to do without him? Yeah, we have. And is Walford a big part of that? Absolutely. Walford is a very big part of that. Now, has he come to play in the passing game? I guess that's what you making a point at. But as far as the blocking and the being able to hold up in the passing game, Walford has come through. Rivera has come through when you needed a big catch. And you know what? Early in his career, that's what he was doing. So between Walford and Rivera, you need to learn how to figure out how to do some two tight end sets because both guys are an asset to the offense. It's just a matter of whether Musgrave is going to make them a point in the offense. That's all I can say.
I think you're going to see some interesting things out of that bunch going forward. And I do think we missed Lee Smith. A lot of people, the knock on him was it was predictable when he was in the game. You knew it was going to be a run play or he was going to stay in a pass protect. But then later on, before he got injured, they were sending him out there, and he was actually catching balls. Not the most dynamic route runner. He's not going to burn you, but it at least put that question mark in the defense. When you saw Lee Smith, you couldn't be 100% certain it was a run play. So, yeah, I agree with that. We miss him, but we're making do with what we got. That's the Raider way. All right, let's get into it. These are MVPs and our trash can player. Who's your MVP for this game?
You know I got to go with my baby boy, number 52, Khalil Mack. I mean, if I don't say Khalil Mack wasn't the MVP of this game, then I'm a stupid, you know what I'm saying? Bleep, bleep. So,
yeah.
You know.
I mean, some people might make the argument for Derek for leading the comeback, but you know what? Derek at this point is just doing what Derek does. I got to give it to Khalil Mack too, because the guy is just exceptional. What he did on Sunday was just superhero the F out. I mean, the guy just nutted up and won the game for this. He put the nail in the coffin. Khalil Mack has 9 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, 3 fumble recoveries, and an interception in his last 7 games. That's just pure beast mode.
Beast mode 1,000 times. I'm telling you, this dude, the last 6 games has gotten this guy DPOY, Defensive Player of the Year. If he's not looked at that right now, then the writers and the voters, they got issues and problems. Because right now, he's the defensive player of the year.
Yeah, and if you're gonna say they got a slow start and people are gonna be concerned about him getting back to that sort of things not showing up on the stat sheet, I say no, because if you're watching him play, there's no doubt in my mind this is not gonna stop, and in fact, it might even get a little bit nastier. And if it can get nastier on Thursday, I'm not gonna be mad. Trash can player. Who's your trash can player this game?
Wow, trash can player. That's a hard one right now because the team, they showed up, man. The defense showed up in the fourth quarter. The offense showed up in the third and fourth quarter. I'm gonna have to say this week. I'm gonna give the whole Raider team a pass. All 46 starters get a pass this week.
Okay, I'm gonna get a little more creative. And I'm going to say my trash can player this week was Dr. Jekyll. Let me expand on that a little bit. This defense is Jekyll and Hyde. I want to see more Mr. Hyde. I want to see Mr. Nasty. I want to see drink the potion, freak out, and just steal your children.
I like that.
Madman. I want to see that guy. That first half, we had Dr. Jekyll defense, McCoy running all over us. Yeah, Shady being shady, but we got nothing going on in that first half. And that's been my issue with this defense is we can see what it can do. I'm tired of the split personality, so I'm calling you out, the entire Raider defense. Khalil Mack, Bruce Irvin, you need to get these guys rallied around you. That middle of the D is suspect, but they can turn it on. Let's turn it on at the beginning of the game and play 4 quarters of football. We're going to pick up on that key because I know that's one of yours coming up after the break. We're going to take a short break here. We're going to hear some words for some of our fellow bloggers, some of our listeners, and we're going to come back and we're going to get into this KC football game. What do you think about that, Kane?
I'm ready to go, baby. Let's do it. Let's hear from some of these fellow bloggers.
Let's hit it. We'll catch you guys after the break. You're listening to the Pillaging Podcast, companion podcast to PillagingJustForFun.com, the only Raider fan site made by Raider fans for Raider fans, featuring fan-submitted articles and the most lively Raider Nation conversation on the internet. Follow us on Twitter @PillageJustForFun. That's @PillageJust4Fun. Also, tune in every Tuesday on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Stitcher Radio.
Yo, what up, Kenny and Kane? It's your boy, JFB, out in Albuquerque. Love the blog, love the podcast, love our Raiders in first place. Key to the victory is going to be special teams in the cold, man. A lot of crazy things could happen. Blocked punts, weird field goals, missed extra points. We got to trim all that fat. We got a better squad. Let's get this W. Raiders!
Hello, Kenny. London Al here on my mobile. If we lose to KC on Thursday night, I want to kick my dog. Okay? Best wishes to you from London. Bye.
Hey, this is Plunk for Hall of Fame. PJFF is obviously the best blog in the history of the internet. Go Raiders, kill Kansas City.
Yo, Pillaging Just for Fun crew. Silver and Black 666. Want to give a big shout out to Kenny and Raider Kane for making these podcasts and making this website interesting every freaking day, man. Oh, and I got one more thing to say for you 10-2 Raider fans.
All right, and we're back. We had a caller call in this week, and he had a question about the upcoming game. This call was from Dan78 in Los Angeles, and let's listen to what he had to say.
Hey, Kenny. Hey, Kane. This is Dan78. Just want to let you know, go Raiders. My question is, what is the key to stopping the Chiefs' running game?
So Dan wants to know what's the key to stopping the KC running game. Now, you already talked about before, KC doesn't have much of a running game, and I pointed out they ran for 188 yards against us last time, poor conditions and all that. But answer Dan's question. What do you think we need to do to stop that?
I think we need to make sure the linebackers stay in their lanes, and I think that defensive line need to come to play. I mean, I think Danico Autry, like you stated earlier, needs to come to play. We down Stacy McGee. We down Mario Edwards Jr. We down, all
Darius Latham's out.
Darius Latham is out. So, we're going to have to come to play. You're going to have the linebackers are going to have to play the run game this week.
Yeah, I agree with that. The linebackers getting out of position. Teams are using the counter against us and juke moves behind the line to kind of get us out of position. I saw that a lot. Shady's one of the best in the league at doing it. So that's like a magnified example. If you just look at that Bills game, they were doing a lot of that misdirection in the run game. So stay in your lane, sit down. Don't leave home too quickly on defense. But also at the line of scrimmage, I'm seeing defensive linemen just get stood up in the run game. So I'm asking the defensive linemen to stay low this week, stay inside your block, use leverage, get up underneath those offensive linemen. Once you get stood up in the run game, that's it. You got no leverage. You got 2 ways to go, backwards or down. So stay low, linebackers stay in their lanes, and hopefully that answers your question, Dan. All right, we're going to get into the rest of the game and break it down between you and I. One of the meanest rivalries in the NFL. This is a playoff game. The team that wins this game, or I should say, if we win this game, we almost have a stranglehold on the AFC West. We get that tiebreaker nullified with KC. Now, if they win, they don't necessarily take over, but it doesn't look good for us. We're at a tie at that point. They own the tiebreaker against us. So, needless to say, this is a big game. We all know that. I don't need to kick a dead horse anymore. The teams overall are ranked fairly evenly. Offensively, we blow them out of the water. The last game we played against them, it didn't look like that. So I'm going to take the stats off the page here because the stats can be deceptive, right? KC defensively, they're ranked 28th overall. We're 29th overall. However, when you look at the scoring, they're 9th in the league. They're only giving up, 20 points a game. It's not shutout ball by any means, but that's pretty good. I mean, if you can limit your opponent to 20, you're giving yourself a good chance to win a game. So despite the fact that they're giving up yards, they're not giving up points. They're very much like us. I hate to say this, but the more I look at Kansas City, the more there's parallels to Oakland. And I didn't really catch this until I started taking a deeper look this week. Some things to key in on. They're 23rd in sacks taken. They're averaging 2.4 a game. Oakland's only averaging 1. So we have the edge on them there. But this is, again, where they're just like Oakland in a way. They have more comeback wins than any other team in the league. They have 6 comeback wins. They started off in week 1. They came back against the Chargers being down 27-0, right? Last week, they beat Atlanta in just ridiculous heart attack fashion with the 2-point conversion returned. It was a go-ahead touchdown, turned into the go-ahead pick 2, I guess is what you would call it. And then against Carolina, they came back 17-0. Carolina, we watched that game together, I believe it was. They should have lost that game. And then Denver, they forced overtime and knocked a football off the goalpost in overtime to win the game. So these guys are heart attack kids just like we are, right? The cardiac kids in Oakland.
Exactly.
So take the stats off the board. These guys are opportunistic like we are. Let's look at what we need to key on and what happened last time. So we played them in Oakland. The conditions weren't great. The field was a mess, which they restarted this last weekend, actually, by the way, if you didn't know that. The whole middle of the field was brand new. We gave up 188 yards on the ground last time we played them. We only rushed for 64 yards. And not only that, we lost the turnover battle. We coughed up the ball once. Carr threw an interception. We had no Latavius Murray. That being said, penalties weren't an issue. We only had 3 penalties in that game for 25 yards. I think we had 7 this week. It's no coincidence that DJ Hayden's not on the field in both of those games. He leads the league in penalties. So not having him on the field is definitely an asset for us. I'm talking here. But the point that I'm trying to make is we really gotta put these guys away early because they can come back, and we got to step on them when they're down.
We got to step on them when they're down, and we got to put them down when they're out. But the first thing we got to start, we got to come out and jump on a big lead on this team. I'm telling you, if you jump on a 10, 14-point lead, you got them. You got them. Because then all you got to do is run the ball, and we got a run game. That offensive line is going to have to come to play. Kelechi Osemele, Gabe Jackson, Hudson and Penn, those guys are going to come to play. And they got to come on Thursday night like it was a Sunday at 1 o'clock. Those guys going to have to come to play. I'm telling you.
In the last game, like I said, they rushed the ball all over us. So the product that we've seen on the field on Thursday night hasn't been great. You got, first of all, lame matchups. And then second of all, these are short weeks where game plans, maybe they're simplified or maybe they're just not getting executed right. Maybe the players are tired, but really poor games on Thursday night for the most part. This is a little bit different because we have a classic rivalry. These two teams pay a lot of attention to each other, so you know the game plan is going to be tight. It's just a matter of if the players can execute on such a short week. Now, KC is coming off of a road game. We're coming off a home game, but we're traveling, so maybe it's a little bit of a wash there. The weather's going to be a factor. I think it's forecasted at about 12 degrees at kickoff, somewhere around there. It's going to be cold. That being said, I think we're going to run the ball a lot. I think they're going to run the ball a lot. And I think it comes down to the team that can stop the run and force the turnover. Who do you like in that area?
If we had to go with run games, I'm going to say the Raiders. I'm going to say we got the best offensive line, or if not the best, one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. And I say Thursday night, although it's a short week, they're going to have to come prepared to show themselves, not only the world, but just the Raider organization and the players. They got to come to play. They got to show themselves that we can run the ball on this team all night long, because that's the way you're going to win that game. I'm telling you, you're going to win that game running the ball.
So no secret, I think we're both keen on the same thing. We got to run the ball. Now, last week, we already said Derek Carr took every snap out of the shotgun. The run game wasn't terrible. We got some good chunk yardage there, but definitely running out of the shotgun, running out of the pistol limits you. So I'm hoping that we see Derek Carr take some snaps under center. I know he was doing it in practice prior to the Bills game. So what do you think? Is he going to be taking snaps under center? What's your gut tell you?
My gut tells me that Derek Carr is going to be Derek Carr, the tough kid that we thought wasn't tough. Derek Carr is going to be Darth Vader. Derek Carr is going to have that black glove on. Derek Carr is going to come out there and take snaps from under center. He's going to take snaps in the shotgun. Derek Carr is going to win that game. But Derek Carr cannot win the game by himself against Kansas City. Because Kansas City, you know what? Y'all going to hate me for this, but Kansas City is better than the Raiders. And until Kansas City beats the Raiders again and again and again and again, they're going to still be better than the Raiders. So if the Raiders don't win Thursday night, guess what? Kansas City is better than the Raiders. So if you want the...
So hold up. I'm looking at the record, and the record tells me the Raiders are better than Kansas City. The rankings tell me the Raiders are better than Kansas City. Tell me why Kansas City is better than Oakland.
Because Kansas City keeps beating the Raiders. That's why. Kansas City keeps beating the Raiders. And until the Raiders beat Kansas City, they're not better than Kansas City. I don't care if you beat New England. If you didn't beat Kansas City, you're not better than them. You can have a better record than them if you want to. And you can say whatever you want to say. But until you beat them, you're not better than them. So
that's real talk. That's real talk right there. You know, it's hard to say, and I applaud you because I know you're a diehard Raider fan. So people that don't know you going to react to this, but I'm going to let you guys know this is a diehard Raider fan, and he's just speaking the truth right now. We got to beat KC if we want to be better than KC. Can't get swept by a divisional rival and be hoping for the playoffs or even be talking about Super Bowl. We got bigger problems on Thursday night. So keys to the game, we talked about it all. Win the turnover battle, stop the run the ball, win the time of possession, limit the penalties, and last but not least, in this cold weather, do not drop the ball. We're not going to get every opportunity to score. Got to make the most of every single down that we have. If wide receivers come out dropping the ball in the first half, this does not look good for our Oakland Raiders team.
Look, let me say this, and I'm going to say this real quick, and we're going to jump to the next subject. Like you said, bro, I'm a die-hard Raider fan. Die hard. season tickets since 1996. I've been going to games, and I've been just through the same struggle as everybody else that's listening to this podcast right now. I've been through the same struggles. But I'm going to tell you something. Thursday is the day that we need to show the Raiders, the players on that team need to show themselves first. Not just the fans, but themselves, that they can beat Kansas City. Because guess what? If you don't beat them, you're going to see them in the playoffs. So why not just beat them now and knock them out, or at least deter them from getting wherever they need to go in the playoffs? Beat them. Show yourselves that you can beat them, because Derek Carr, you have not beat them, bro. You got to do it. And if you don't, you ain't better than them. Period.
So I think I said in our first episode that the last checklist Derek Carr had on his list this season was to beat Kansas City, and you just said it right there. If you can beat Kansas City, I think the sky's the limit for this team, because there's really nobody else in the AFC that's going to test us. Some people say Pittsburgh. I'm not really worried about Pittsburgh, and I don't have time to talk about that on this show, but Kansas City is the team that scares me the most. And Denver, they can always come back and bite us in the ass. At the end of the season, we got to put ourselves in a position where that's not going to matter.
Kansas City. I'm not worried about another team but Kansas City.
That's it,
you
right
beat
there.
Kansas City, you can beat anybody. You beat Kansas City, you can beat anybody. Do it. Do it. Thursday
Night Football. I think we just about said it all, Kane. And with that, I think we should sign off. What you think? You got anything to add?
Signing out, baby. Beat Kansas City. Raiders.
All right, there it is. I'm Kenny Stapler, and this is my co-host,
Kane, let's do it.
Peace out. We out here. Go Raiders.
Raiders.
Like a freight train coming, you're blowing the town. Like a diesel motor, you never shut down. With your pistons pumping, you're mowing them down. It's a sight to see, they all lay their money down. When you're gone, mama, hell, you ain't acting right.
The Chiefs ain't got no running game. Let me pull these stats up while we looking at this shit. Hold on.